this class lecture. So last time your colleague recorded it for us. Thank you very much to those, yeah. But just to share with you all, yeah. When come to class, the one who can record it, either the lecturer or the tutor, yeah. Because we want to make sure that because we want to save this lecture video so that we can share with other students, number one. Secondly, we are going to use this video for improvement. So that's why, unless the lecturer or the tutor allow you to record, then you can record, yeah. Because we don't know about this MT, yeah. So Eugene and I, we are very new in this technology things, in which we thought only us can do the recording. But once other people do the recording, we cannot do the record. So thank you very much for those who already recorded the video for us in our last meetings. Yeah, and now we have how many students? How many students do we have in this class? 102. So far only 102. Yeah. Okay, never mind. For this week, I only want to do revision, yeah, quick revision on topic number 1 and topic number 2, because actually our section is the fastest one, yeah. Section 2, 3, and 4. Only this week they learn on topic 4, but we already concluded topic 4. I already discussed with most of you, because some did not attend the class during the first week, but no problem at all, because today I'm going to repeat topic 1 and topic 2. If we have time, I'm going to cover topic 3 as well. But first, I would like to repeat again the course syllabus, yeah, because we have the new intake. So this new intake, they have to know how this course is run and the grading. Even though I already shared verbally last week, but not all of the new intakes were in last week. So that's why for this class today, I will start with the briefing on the course. Yeah, you hold on. I upload the slide. Share content. So where's the content? Browse. Upload from my computer. Now I look for the video. So usually each time I start class with what does surrounding communicate to us, yeah. This week I don't have anything to share with you, because last week and this week seems similar. Everybody is talking about COVID-19. So we in Sabah in particular, we also experience this COVID-19 things, but fortunately the cases seems to go, there is a decrease in the numbers of positive COVID already. So that is a good sign. Hopefully it's going to persist that way, in which at the end of the day, very soon, we are going to have a physical class in campus. Without attending class physically, I believe that all of you don't feel the aura, okay, the aura of being university student. But don't worry, you have 3 and 4 years. Basically, most of you are 3 years, and some program they offer 4 years. You have many more years to experience, okay, the aura of being university student. So this is the link for Smart Hadir. I just uploaded it in the LMS Smart 3, and I also send it to you through Seujin this morning, this link. So you need to click this link for your attendance. Yeah, bear in mind. Yeah, bear in mind our rules is that if you skip the class 3 times, yeah, if you skip the class 3 times, you will not be allowed to take the exam. Okay, that is the basic rules. That is the physical rules when we don't have COVID. But nowadays, since we have this COVID-19, our physical class is not happening, and then we are relying on online class like this one. And I believe that some of you might, trying to get into the class, but suddenly because of the technical problem, you did not manage to, to do your the attendance list. So my advice is, I'm going to distribute the attendance list all this while. So based on that attendance list, if you attended the class in particular week, please make sure you inform Sir Ujin, yeah. So I repeat again, maybe not this week or maybe next week. Okay, maybe next week, I'm going to upload in your Smart 3 the attendance list. So basically the rules of university is if you skip the class for 3 days, yeah, you are not allowed to take the exam. But that is only happening during the physical contact class when we don't have online class. Nowadays, since we have online class, and most of the time the problem deals with the technical, the internet thing, so we are a bit lenient. We are a bit lenient. Just make sure if you see your name is not there for particular weeks, please notify Sir Ujin. Yeah? Sir Ujin is not only the tutor, he also do the administration work, in which Sir Ujin is also assisting me in taking care of you. So this is the to go to the next slide. Okay, sorry. So this one on it, I already mentioned. In chapter 1, okay, sorry, before that, just for those who are join corporate com class this week or last week, basically we have 8 topics, yeah, for corporate communication. We have 8 topics. So far, we already completed topic 4. Okay, week 6, before, now is week 5, yeah, now is week 5. Before week 5, we already cover 4 topics, meaning to say we are productive. First week, topic 1, second week, topic 2, third week, topic 3, fourth week, topic 4. And now is topic week 5. So what happened today, I'm going to revise with you all, share back again with you all, what you have learned, the most important thing that you have learned in topic 1 and topic 2. And we have midterm exam coming up. So last week I announced that the midterm exam will be on week 8, no longer week 7. Yeah. So there is adjustment here. So all the rest will be adjusted accordingly. Okay, all the rest. And we also have this group activity CSR project. Okay, and before I discuss about CSR project. Okay, there were complaints. Okay, there were complaints by students to some classes lah, not my class. Hopefully not my class. Students said that too many assignments were given. Okay, too many assignments were given, and I agree with student. In first place, I agree with student. There are too many assignments were given, but please remember that this assignment you need to categorize them. You need to categorize them. Yeah, assignment should not be looked at as one way around. Assignment need to be looked at. You need to look at assignment in various angle. For example, in our class, if you remember, I think last 2 weeks, I asked you all to watch so many videos, kan, from YouTube. Or I think during the culture week, topic 2, I asked you to watch 5 videos, if I'm not mistaken, and then follow with 2 or 3 more videos every week. So please please remember, yeah, when lecturer, for example, when I ask you to look at the video, that is not assignment. You must know how to differentiate assignment and the real assignment. So looking at video, that is not assignment, that is a reinforcement. Okay, that is a reinforcement for you to understand whatever the lecturer is sharing with you. So during that week, I discussed with you all about culture. So what happened is I give you the link and you watch the video about the culture. So that is the reinforcement things, and that is not called assignment. So, and then I also ask you to read articles about culture, and then also I ask you to look at video on the forming the teams, and then I ask some question, and then I also ask you to watch video on running a meeting. So all this actually is not assignment, because all this is only some of activities for reinforcement. For reinforcement, meaning to say, if you do that activities, it's good for you so that you are better and your understanding on particular topic and subtopic will be enhanced. And when you answer the question during the midterm or the test, you are able to answer correctly. And what I'm trying to say is that for corporate com alone, yeah, so far I haven't give any assignment. So those complaints is not to me lah. Those complaints is to other lecturers. But all that stuff that I gave you, assigned to you, is reinforcement activities, in which if you do it, I will remember your name forever and ever. If you don't do it, I'm not going to punish you. Okay, so that is the difference when you do the reinforcement. Your assignment will come only when you do the group activities. That is what I call assignment. In group activities, your CSR, you need to discuss, have a meeting with your group, brainstorming, forming, and at the end of the day, I will ask you to do the presentation. So that presentation, toward that presentation is what we call assignment, because you need to get together in group to prepare for presentation. Your assignment is to do group presentation. So that is called assignment, one assignment. Second assignment is when I ask the group to present, to submit proposal. Okay, so that is second assignment. The third assignment is I ask you all to video, to convert your proposal into a video. So that is called assignment. And all these three assignments are done in a group. You see, corporate com, my class didn't, give too much work to students. Okay, remember that. So you are lucky to be in this class, corporate com. But the idea is that whatever you do, assignment is something that for you to test yourself. Okay, remember, assignment is actually for you to test yourself. How far have you learned? How far have you learned? Because the scoring for the assignment is the measure of your real achievement. Okay, so basically what I'm talking about is if you are given assignment, that is a good sign. But of course lah, nowadays, when we are new to these online things, we are eager to assign many things to students. But as I said earlier, please remember to define assignment into two things. One is reinforcement, the other one is assignment. Okay, so now we go to the next slide. So for new student, these are actually the course assessment. We have midterm, we have test, we have group assignment. So midterm, we account for what is the 20%, 20 kartu. Ya, saya pun rabun sudah ni. Okay, 40%, yalah. And then the test we have, sorry, I have to take my glasses. Hold on. You see, even I do not remember what I share with you all. So I also need to look at the notes. So that's why it's important to have notes. Yeah. Okay. Written, we have slide is not moving. The slide is not moving. Now I have slide with cost assessment. Do you have the cost assessment? Okay. So the slide is not moving. Moving now? Moving already? Okay. Yeah. All right. No. My slide is already okay. Let me go to slide number 5. Can you see this? Oh, so I do not take control. Okay. Okay, you see now? Now you see?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, what just no, I'm not the one who control it, right? Oh, because I use the link. That's why. Sorry. Because I entered this Microsoft team by using the link given to me by Sujin. So that's why I'm not in control. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Never mind. Am I still the one who recording? Yes. That's good already. Okay. Now we have actually until this slide. Yeah. I just want to revise this so that for the new student, they understand what are expected, how to score this class. Okay, for your information, if you score B, in this class, that is the average scoring. Most of previous student, they score B plus. Okay, so I challenge you all to get B plus. Not difficult to get B plus as long as you follow my instruction and always communicate with Seujin to guide you all to the right way of doing assignment, for example. Yeah. So we have 60% for 30% for midterm, 30% for test. Yeah. We are going to have 2 tests after semester break. We don't have final exam. Okay, for this class, because of the COVID-19, yeah, we don't have the final exam. Instead, it's going to be replaced by 2 tests. 2 tests worth 15% and 15%. This will be, you may look at it on the schedule, the course schedule. And then we have 30% for midterm. And then we have 20% for, 40% for group assignment. The assignment comprises of video presentation, proposal, and also the proposal, video, and presentation. Okay, two things. So this is just a revision, quick revision, yeah. And then these are the topics. These are the topics in this course. Now we are in topic 4. Sorry, we already concluded topic 4. Now we are doing a revision on topic 1 and topic 2, yeah. Topic 1 is on the professional communication. Topic 2 is on the culture, diversity, and global engagement. If we have time, I will go to topic 3. And next week is revision number 2. And then you have break. After the break, you have midterm exam. So you might be wonder, what happened to my slide? Tak ada slide sudah kan? Where is my slide? Somebody kidnapped my slide. Okay, I open again lah. Somebody kidnapped my slide. Sorry ya. Please be patient. I will ask the policeman to catch those who kidnapped my slide. Okay. Replace. Share content, ya. Sedang share content ya. So this is one of the challenges lah for this online learning. If you are good at handling this thing is okay lah, but unfortunately, as well as you all, we also, the lecturer also not so, we are not really, I'm not saying we are not really good, but this is a sudden thing for us to modify the way of teaching using the online things, and we have so many platforms. Last time we used Google, now we use Microsoft Teams. So every time we have new thing to use, yeah. So last time with your senior, I taught them using Google Meet, easier. But this one, Microsoft thing, actually maybe Microsoft thing is easier, but because we just familiarize things, so it seems very difficult. So in corporate communication, you must know why actually you need to learn corporate communication. You need to be able to differentiate between communication and corporate communication. Communication means the way you communicate. But when you took this course, corporate communication, it is about learning the communication in the organization. That's why if you flip the textbook, okay, the topics, you will find that there are many subtopics of corporate communication, to the extent you learn about crisis communication, negotiation, you learn about cultural, you learn about diversity, you learn about verbal, non-verbal. So all this is under corporate communication. This is the skills, this is the knowledge, this is the skills that you need to be able to, to learn and use it when you communicate in organization. So earlier in the semester, during the first week of class, I share with all the students that being able to learn corporate communication will ensure that you will pass your career, you will have a good career. Cannot pass, you will have a good career, because corporate communication is the skills, to be somebody in organization. For example, myself, even though my field is human resource management, but because I am a practical person, I'm from industry, I'm practical person, in which communication in the corporate organization is used to be my experience. Last time before joining UMS, I served the state government for 10 years. I served the state government for 10 years as public relation officer, and also admin works. And previously, I served some private organization companies, trading companies, and so on. Yeah? So the ideas of learning corporate communication is actually how we are going to handle our day-to-day works in organization. So this is the bit. So when we do this, corporate communication in organization, actually there are two basic functions. Number one is actually we want to have a good interrelationship between interdepartment inside the organization. We have co-workers, we have colleagues working in same department, same organization. This is what we call internal. And also, when we work with organization, we have stakeholders. These stakeholders in Malay we call pelanggan. So one of the pelanggan is the customers. So we also, as part of the employees in organization, we need to communicate with people outside organization, external. So basically, learning corporate com is about learning how to communicate internally and externally. Okay, so this is the purpose of taking this course. Okay, so if you are in the program of marketing, in the program of international business, in the program of human resource economics, and so on. The basic things, the basic knowledge that you need to have is corporate com. So that's why this corporate communication become the core subject. Yeah? Or students from all the programs need to take this. Sekarang slide di bahagian nomor 4. Semua nampak kah? Introduction to corporate com. Now slide number 7. Skip. Medium and channel. Okay. Now I'm in this slide medium and channel. So during topic 1 also, are we still on the right track? Yeah, I'm still in control. Yeah, nobody is kidnapping this one from me. Yeah, okay. Make sure you make sure you alert me. Yeah, if I'm talking to the wrong slide, because my slide is beautiful, bah. That's why people like to kidnap my slide. Okay, so in topic 1 also, we discuss about medium and channel. What is the difference between medium and channel? Okay, medium is the means of communication. It is an abstraction, can be oral, written, or non-verbal. Channel is a means of transmission. Concrete could be a letter, a report, a book. Okay, telephone. Okay, your handphone. This is my handphone. This is my handphone. So this handphone, is it medium or channel? Handphone is channel. Handphone is channel. Very good. Wah, tajulah. Siapa tu? Okay. Handphone is channel. My question is, what is the medium of handphone? Okay. Handphone is the channel. What is the medium of handphone?
WhatsApp. Application.
Application lagi apa? What apps?
WhatsApp.
Okay. SMS and call and so on. Okay.
Contact.
The right answer is the medium is text and voice. Text when you do the WhatsApp texting, so we call it texting. Voice when we talk. So voice and text are the mediums, but the channel is the handphone. Okay, what about letter? Letter, L-E-T-T-R, T-T-E-R, letter, bukan letter, letter. Letter and post office, which one is channel? Letter or post office?
Letter.
Channel.
Post office.
Okay. Channel is post office. Medium is letter. Okay, you must remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Computer. Computer and email. Which one is channel? Which one is medium?
Computer
Email
channel,
is
email medium.
Okay, very good. Computer is the channel, email is the medium. So you must know the difference, because these are the two things. Without these two things, there is no communication. When we are talking about, transmission of communication from apart, when people are being apart, away from one another. So they need to use channel. And from that channel, they are sending messages in the form of medium. So this is the favorite question for midterm. Okay, there are many reasons. There are many reasons why people want to communicate. So this book said there are 4 reasons or 4 needs. Okay, the first, it is instrumental. It is a tool. Okay, communication is a tool to to reach one thing, to know one thing, to have the answer for a question. It is a tool. It is instrumental. And then informational. Actually, communication is to inform. And then communication is also for identity needs. Identity need when, for example, you are attending the interview. So you tell people who you are. what you are good at. So this is for the purpose of identity needs, and also for relational when we do collaboration, networking, build a friendship, relationship, and so on. So there are 4 needs of communication. And communication can be explicit and can be implicit. Explicit, actually, the direct meaning of communication. When we, for example, what is the example? Yeah, last time I used the example when you are broke and you borrow money from your friend, and then your friend said never mind, I will share my Maggie Mee with you. Okay, the friend is broke, and he want to borrow money from the other friend. But unfortunately, the other friend is also broke. But this other friend is very good friend. So instead of saying that he doesn't have money, he said, "Why don't I share my Maggie Mee with you?" So explicitly, he don't say that he don't have money, but implicitly he's saying that he don't have money. He also broke. So many people, when they communicate, they use these 2 methods, explicit and implicit. So in communication, we have 2 parties. Yeah, one is sender, the other one is a receiver. Sender is the one who talk, a receiver is the one who listen or hear. So basically, if you are a receiver, you must react, you must respond, whether through explicit or implicit. If you want to, for example, the example that I used just now, this friend is broke, he want to borrow money, but the other friend said he's also broke, but he didn't want to, to disappoint his friend. So he said, instead of saying, I don't have money, he said, why don't you share my Maggie with me, for example. So he is trying to implicitly saying that he also broke. Okay, so many times people are using explicit and implicit approach when they communicate. And then, of course, in communication we have verbal, non-verbal, and there is another thing is written communication. Verbal, when we use voice to speak. Non-verbal, when we do use body language, facial expression, and postures, and so on. Okay, so verbal and non-verbal. One thing that good with non-verbal communication is when we communicate with people from different cultures. When we communicate with people from different cultures and we don't have good expertise in their languages, so our body language, our non-verbal communication will always be the savior in order for us to communicate with people from different culture using other languages. So later on, I will share with you again about the Mehrabian model. Okay, the Mehrabian model saying that non-verbal communication accounts for highest percentage of doing communication. So in verbal communication as well, there is the content and relational. Content here mean sometimes people this you can apply this to the example of Maggie Mee just now. Yeah, in some way it is related in some way. Content mean you are saying straightforward. A relational mean it carries other meaning. But in other cases, in other instances, people communicate with uh, fixed content, and that content is for the purpose of making friends, for example, or creating an enemy. It is either one. So basically, in terms of content and relational, in some way, it is similar to explicit and implicit just now. A bit different only that when come to content and relational, sometimes people use certain statement words for a purpose, whether to create relationship or to create enemy. Meta communicate. Meta communicate when you trust your own, the other side of you. For example, last time I use example looking at the clouds. When the clouds turn black, it means it's going to rain, heavy rain. So if we look at the cloud and the cloud awan, not computer, cloud, and the cloud is black, that means it's going to rain. So you will then decided to postpone your activity outside because of believing that the cloud is black, yeah. So you're expecting heavy rain. So, but what happened is actually you are telling yourself about that is what is going to happen later on. So this is what we call meta communicate. So for that particular example, it's fine, it's okay, because based on the experience, if the cloud is black, that means it's going to be rain, but not all the time. What I'm trying to imply here is that when we communicate with people, sometimes we have connected ourselves to these meta communicate things, in which before we talk to that person, we already make a decision. For example, if you see a woman, I am a man, I want to see a woman, and this woman is not so pretty. For example, ini example saja ya. And this woman is not so pretty. So before, when I meet her, I already put in my mind, I'm not going to have a relationship with her because this woman is not pretty. Ya. This is only example ya. Jangan pula kamu bergosip. So this is what meta communicate means. Before we decide, before we look at things clearly, we already meta communicate because of the perception developed. So perception we learn in chapter topic 3. So meta communicate is very important. Your ability to control your meta communication will make sure that you can become a good communicator. So that's why some profession, for example, lawyer, doctors, what else? They need people with less of meta communication, less crisis of meta communication, and they cannot make decision before they perform. They must follow whatever procedure and then perform and look what is the result. So because otherwise, it's going to delay the performance or the performing of the function. Okay. So what is communication? Basically, effective communication, it must have interaction. Without interaction, there is no communication. The second things in communication, there must be exchange of message. For example, if I talk to this, assuming this is not online. Assuming this is not online. I'm talking to this laptop. There is no interaction because I speak to the laptop is not going to reply to me, meaning to say there is no interaction. And then I said to laptop, who are the most beautiful women in the world? So laptop cannot answer my question. But the magic mirror, it can answer my question. So no sharing of messages. So meaning to say there is no communication. So communication must have interaction and sharing of the message. For example, if you meet a new friend, okay, you meet a new friend. You want to get acquaintance to this new friend, so you are trying very hard to build a relationship. Unfortunately, he or she did not really give any feedback, any response to you. So there is no communication. in such a way we can see that you have the interaction but you don't want to respond. You send a message but he didn't or she didn't understand your message, so she or he did not reply. So meaning to say there is no communication. Remember, interaction, no interaction, no sharing of message, meaning no communication. This is very famous framework in communication. If you know this framework, then you are good at communication. In this framework, remember there are two phases up there, up. The top one is transmission phase, bottom one is the feedback phase. What is transmission? What is feedback? Before you know the difference between transmission and feedback, look at every detail in the framework. The first detail is sender. The second detail is receiver. The third detail is sharing message. The fourth detail is medium, channel, and so on. And the last one, you look at the word encode, E-N-C-O-D-E, and decode, D-E-C-O-D-E. Okay, so these are all the elements of communication. Sender need to have a receiver, unless otherwise there is no communication, no interaction. Sender send a message to receiver and receiver must understand. If the receiver did not understand the message, that means receiver is not sharing the message, no communication. In the transmission phase, the top one, in the transmission phase, sender encode, receiver decode. But look at the feedback phase, opposite already. I repeat, in the transmission phase, sender encode, receiver decode. But in the feedback phase, it is receiver who encode and sender who decode. Okay, so remember that, the difference, because this is actually one of another popular question in the test. And also, I share with you topic 1 about ethos, pathos, and logos. I took this one from YouTube video. It's very interesting YouTube video. When we communicate with people, we must have credibility. What is credibility? Credibility means you have the uniqueness to communicate to people. Credibility means you have the reason for people to listen to you. That is credible communicators. In our example, if I'm not the lecturer, maybe I just one of your friend. Okay, one of you lah. If I am one of you and I talk in front of you here today, talking about communication, I believe nobody will listen to this person, because this person is not credible. But I am credible person. I have my experience, I have my degrees, so that's why when I teach you all, I communicate with you all, you listen attentively. So this is what we call ethos. Okay, ethos from the Greek word, So unless you have ethos, then people will listen to you. Ethos means credibility. You are credible, right? So that's for chapter 1. Topic 1. I'm going to continue to topic number 2. Hold on, Okay, how is everybody before I proceed to topic 2? Everybody is okay? Do you hear me clearly?
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I miss you all because I cannot see you all. So this is the first time I don't have students. I only have what do we call you all? Student alam maya. You all macam alam maya bah. Because I cannot see you all. Hold on. We go to topic number 2. If you have water, please drink water. It's very hot today. Kan few days it's raining every night. Wow, this is a good topic. Culture, diversity, and global engagement. Okay, ignore the link Smart Hadir. That one is last time's link. Directional of communication. Sometimes it is called networking of communication. Sometimes it is addressed as direction of communication. Internally, what? Somebody kidnapped my slide. Why people like to kidnap my slide? Because I have very nice slide. I have to upload again the kidnap. I have to call the fire brigade this time. Mana sudah tahu? No worry, yeah. No worry. Don't worry. Sometimes I just play with words. I'm not going to report you to the police or the fire brigade. Maybe I will report you to the ambulance. All right. Where is the slide? Okay. Okay, direction of communication. Remember I said in previous slides, I said that corporate communication is about studying the communication internally and externally. Internally mean interdepartment. It means that, hold on, so many students walking there, so the sound is louder than ambulance. Hold on, I lower the volume. I hope my voice is clear, yeah? Okay, direction of communication. There are 3 or 4, I think 3 or 4 direction of communication. We repeat again last time. Upward, downward, downward, vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Diagonal. Okay. Upward, downward, horizontal, and diagonal. So, in any organization, of course, we are able to see the upward approach or downward approach. Upward approach, for example, when lower ranking officer communicate to his superior. Lower communicate to superior, that is upward communication. Downward communication, for example, the vice president, the president of the company, as is the clerk in one of the department. So that is downward approach. Horizontal, when the managers from different departments meeting together or communicate one another, managers to managers. Diagonal or DIA, diagonal direction of communication, when people or the employees in organization, they communicate disregard of the positions. So marketing manager discussing with lower officer in the admin department, for example, or vice president communicate with the manager in other department, for example. So tidak tentulah, not based on position anymore. So that is diagonal. Okay, upward, downward, horizontal, and diagonal. This upward and downward is sometimes called vertical communication. Vertical, atas bawah, atas bawah, atas bawah, up down, vertical. Horizontal, melintang. Okay, melintang. What is melintang? Melintang lah, membujur lalu melintang patah. So melintang patah itu yang diagonal itu. Ya. Okay, so remember that direction of communication. Mehrabian model. Mehrabian model was developed by a professor from University of California. I remember that, yeah, in 1970s. So this professor, his name is Mehrabian. So he developed a theory, a model called Mehrabian formula or Mehrabian model. This model mentioned that when people speak to us, we understand what he or she is talking about based on his body languages. 55%. When people talk to you, you are impressed, you are attracted, you understood because of the body language. 55%. 38% because of the sound, the tone. Suara besar, suara kecil, suara halus. So this is the tone of voice, only 38%. And surprisingly, the content of that communication, your languages, only counts for 7%. 7%. So meaning to say, based on this theory, is that you can try this one. You can try this one when you approach anybody. Try to improve, try to show your body language. If your body language is greater than your content, I believe, according to Mehrabian, the receiver, people will attracted to you more. For example, when you attend interview, janganlah interview sebab you all baru masuk kelas kan, so you are new student, freshman, first year. When you meet your lecturer, don't meet me lah, meet other lecturer. If you meet me, I can detect, oh, you want to apply Mehrabian model to me, for example. You try to approach other lecturer. You look smart, wearing good uniform. This is when we are allowed to go to university lah, ya. Right now, please stay safe at home. When time allow, you all can visit the faculty, crying. Oh, this is my faculty. I have been longing for this faculty. Crying, because rindu kan mau pegang. You want to hold that dinding itu bah, into the wall of faculty business of Kenwa. Oh, this is university, because you haven't reached the UMS yet kan. So when you go to faculty of business, economics, and accountancies, your faculty, our faculty, and you want to meet the lecturer, first thing, you wear good attire to form your credibility. And then you want to, when you meet the lecturer, first you must make sure you know what body language you are going to implement, to practice. If you want to lobby for president, for example, president of the club, you must show your confidence level. How to show confidence using body language, ya? Coba kamu try di sana. How to show confidence? Look at the screen, and then if your screen is look at it. What is the body language saying that you are confident? Okay, who got the answer? Okay, my question is, which part of your body can show people that you are confident?
Your eyes.
Yeah, your eyes.
Eyes? Anybody?
Your
Body
Which
posture.
or what type of body language show that you are confident?
eyes.
Okay,
Your
some say
eyes.
facial expression, some say hand, Some say you can
Bo-
put the chat there. Face.
Body posture.
Okay. Hand. I don't see the answer, the right answer. The answer start with letter P, pistol. Okay, start with letter P, pistol. What is the answer? This, when you apply this, it makes you look confident. Okay, very good. Posture. Posture. Your badan. Okay, when you see your lecturer, you do like this, it's not confident. But if you sit like this, look like me. Like this is a confident posture. Oh, okay. You see, if you like this, not confident. Especially like this lah. This is not confident. Or whatever. But the most important thing, sit straight, put your arms to the chair like this, and then if possible you hold your hand like this. This is look confident. And then the lecturer said, I think you better go for the president. For example, so remember, body language is very important. Second thing, the tone of voice. Okay, tone of voice. When you already see the lecturer, lecturer here I'm referring to the deputy dean of student affair lah. Student affair. The deputy dean is Dr. Kamisan Arif ya. If you want to go for president of the club lah, for example, of the whatever association you want to enter later on in the faculty. Second is the tone. Thank you, sir. You see the tone. Not saying like thank you, sir. Not confident. Oh, is that right, sir? You see body language. You move forward your body. Don't do like this. Oh, betul kata, sir. That one cannot lah. Yeah. Automatically he will reject you. So must take care of your attitude as well. So the 7% is based on the content of the discussion or communication, not as strong as body language and tone of voice. Okay. Okay. Cultures. So nowadays, job opportunities is not only from local organization. Sometimes, who knows that in the future you are going to be employed by organization which are international organization. This is the case whereby you need to learn many cultures. But the idea is, in this world nowadays, we are no longer living in one place, doing business in only community in one place. We also handling things, doing things, dealing things, communicate with people from different culture. Different culture here referring to different countries. Okay, so of course the cultures is different. Remember I said no culture is a bad culture. All cultures are good cultures. The one who said bad cultures is the people from different cultures, in which they don't make effort to to see things based on that people's view, perspective. Okay, so cultures, that is the definition of cultures. And co-cultures, co-cultures, nowadays we have so many co-cultures. My favorite co-cultures is data game, kan? Dota game. So co-cultures ni, for example, if you are Manchester United fan, who here are Manchester United? I am Manchester United fan. I love Manchester United since I was in the Form 1. I was in Form 1 in 1981. So starting from 1981, I already love Manchester United team. So I already developed co-cultures of being to the loyal fan of Manchester United since 1981, and I never changed until today. So if you ask me about Manchester United, it is not about how they grab the trophy. It's not about that. It's about how the club grow up. I don't want to discuss further on Manchester United unless you all are Manchester United fan. Because I believe that some of you are Arsenal, some of you are JDT. JDT pun dah hebat dah sekarang kan. So these are all core cultures. Core cultures is when we associate ourselves to Liverpool. Liverpool is a good team, yeah. Liverpool. My second team is Liverpool. My first team is Manchester United. My second team is Liverpool. My team is Real Madrid. My fourth team is Bayern Munich. See, and my last team name is Gurkha Kickers. You know what is Gurkha Kickers? That is my team where I play for. Gurkha Kickers is klub guru dan kaki tangan. Guru, kaki tangan. Gurkha Kickers. That was in 1992 to 1993. I play with that team in one of the championship. Okay. So, ialah Sabah FA semua kan. Okay. Enough with core cultures. Ini kalau pakai ada minum kopi ni bagus ni. Cerita pasal Manchester United kan. Unfortunately this COVID Sabah team cannot compete in the Malaysia Cup because of the COVID-19. Okay, generational identity. I personally highlight generational identity because, okay, first of all, what actually you know about generation? You are now called generation Z. Okay, you all are generation Z. I am your fathers, your parents, I believe, are generation X. X, those who were born between 1964 to 1979. I was born in 1969, yeah, and I am 51 years old already. Tua sudah kan? I was born in 69. I was 51 already. I'm from Generation X. Generation X, born between 1964 to 1979. 1980 to 1999, Generation Y. In between Generation Y to the next 10 years is what we call Millennial Generation. And after Millennial Generation is your generation, Generation Z. The difference between generation is because of technology. Please have a drink. Oh, already 1 hour. I speak 1 hour. Boring kan? Boring kah? Mau berhenti sudah? Oh, kalau senyap maksudnya teruskan ya. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Alright. Ya, kita bercerita lah. My class is like storytelling. Corporate communication is a storytelling class. Sorry. Right. So, but even though I do the storytelling, but in fact inside my storytelling there is a lot of knowledge. Yeah. Because you know why? I spend my class not only from textbook information. I spend sharing knowledge with you all based on my experience in this field of communication, especially before joining UMS. I joined UMS in 2006. 2006, I started as admin officer. Later on, I became tutor, and now I become senior lecturers. My first post in UMS as the special officer to vice chancellor. For the first 4 years, I served that position, special officer to vice chancellor. So I have do a lot of communication things in between university and media, especially and community. And before joining UMS in 2006, from 1999, I was serving state government under minister, and I was the public relation officer as well for 10 years. So basically, when I handle this class, I used to bring along the experiences that I have. So that's why this corporate communication is actually a storytelling class, but it's up to you whether you want to learn the knowledge behind it or not. Yeah. So cultures, Hofstede cultural dimension. This Hofstede cultural dimension. You are not only come across these terms, this dimension here. Later on in your other program as well, other courses as well, in other pursuit. For example, if you go further, your master later on, PhD, you are going to see these Hofstede cultural dimensions. So it is about individualism and collectivism, in which certain countries in the world, especially Western countries, there are more individual types of community. In Malaysia, we are collectivists. The difference here is that in European, in American, in Western countries, they believe more on individual charismatic. They believe on what they say is what people need to follow. Different from our cultures, East cultures, Malaysia, Indonesia, including China. Yeah, we are, collectivist cultures. Collectivist mean we prefer to communicate with one another, and then we choose one to say what we actually want to say. We are based on groups. Okay, our group cohesion is stronger compared to the US. This is why the reason, yeah, in US they have so many positive COVID-19. If you watch earliest attack of COVID-19 in USA, yeah, if you watch the video, a lot of video in YouTube, what happened is when world is taking prevention against COVID-19, people in USA, most of them among the youth, yeah, they said this is our freedom, whether we want to get infected or not. Government should not curtail, should not keep us from doing our activities. If government want to, limit our activities, that means government is against our freedom. So this is the criteria of individualism. So because of that, there are many deaths. Okay, so when come to protecting our community from COVID-19, I believe that collectivism is the best way to make sure that this COVID-19 will not affect in a mass people. Yeah. Low and high context. This is more on the formality of doing or handling things. We already talked about all this dimension. So my purpose for today is just to revive back your memory about this thing. Yeah, power distance. For example, people in Eastern countries, Asia, for example, there is a gap between the younger and the senior. But in other countries, Western countries, there is no gap. Please remember, gap here doesn't related to respect. Even the Western, the gap is closer. That doesn't mean they do not respect. That actually, that is the cultures. Okay, I remember last time when I went to my university, I went to West Texas A&M University in Texas, USA in 1987 to 1990. Yeah? I graduated in 1990. My major that time is public administration. So I graduated with public administration. So in my class, there are many female students. There are many female students. Only few are male students, and I am lucky. Why I am lucky? Because I was I was involved in group activities, and only I am male in that group. What happened is I coming from the culture in which male and female cannot be close together. Okay, but our activity is very unique. It's not. It is a good activity, by the way. But because I'm coming from cultures where I cannot sit or stand very close to female, but that time I had that opportunities. Okay, I don't want to continue. I am afraid that you all be wrongly interpreted that. But and then uncertainty avoidance. Some cultures they don't want to take risks. Some people they don't want to take risks. So if they think that there is a risk, they don't want to involve. So this is uncertainty avoidance. Masculine and feminine, that it doesn't refer to male or female. Even the female they are can be divided into masculine and feminine. This is more on your egoism, your aura, your spirit to pursue things, masculine and feminine. Yeah. Of state. Okay, enough with that. Personal space, indirectly I mentioned this just now in social distance. Okay, communicating with cultural proficiency, meaning to say you must good at understanding other language, other cultures. Only that you can communicate, communicate fluently, communicate productively. Okay, so how to be cultural proficiencies? Therefore, for ways, number one is you must be aware of other cultures. My strong point is that no culture is a bad culture. You only say the culture is a bad culture because you don't understand their culture. So your first one is you must have cultural awareness. Secondly, you must practice perspective taking. Perspective taking here, sometimes you have perception. You have bad perception about people. Because you have bad perception about people from different cultures, you are unable to communicate effectively. So make sure when you do the perspective talking, perspective taking, perception, try to not avoid the bad perception. Cultural centrism refers to when you are ethnocentric. Cultural centrism means that you think your culture is the best culture. People culture number 2 or number 3 or lower culture. The minute you have that kind of opinion, that kind of self understanding, so you are not going to be cultural proficiency. And of course, the last way is adapting to changing cultural norms. For this one, I prefer to use what happened nowadays. We are nowadays living in the new norms. Last time we shake hand, this time we tanya pada hati. Tanya pada hati. No more shake hand, tanya pada hati. That is the new norms, okay, because of the COVID-19. So all these things are actually will make you a good communicator. Okay, I think this is my last slide. So now it's already 5:21 hour and 20 minutes. Kesian kamu kan, duduk termenung di sebalik laptop. Okay, so I hope my student, international student as well, if you are here, you understand my lecture for today and for all students. So if you have any question, I am glad to answer. Any question? Okay, before that, before I forget, did any of you purchase e-book? Quiet mean no. Okay, quiet mean no. Okay, if you purchase e-book, please let Sir Ujin know. Okay, Sir Ujin, please inform me how many students purchase e-books. Yeah. Okay, if you purchase e-books, I want to guide you how to use e-books. because if only some of you buy e-books, I cannot spell the e-book things, the exercise in this class, but I can guide you on how actually the e-book will make you understand better. Yeah. Okay, any question, any else? Ada soalan yang lain? Okay kah semua? Everything okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Semua okay ya. Anybody can say something to me?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Tidak ada ya. So okay. So according to Sir Ujin, there is no tutorial. Tutorial will be conducted on other days kan? So okay lah, you all boleh berehat, okay? Take shower many times, no problem. Okay. Make sure you are taking shower inside your house and don't go anywhere. So thank you very much. That's all from me. I'll see you again next week on the same time, revision number 2. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay ya. I leave this class ya. Let me stop this.
Thank you, sir.
这个翻译打哈是吧？